Hello, and welcome to the We Are Power podcast. If this is your first time here, the We Are Power podcast is the podcast for you, your career, and your life. We release an episode every single Monday with listeners in over 60 countries worldwide, where you'll hear personal life stories, top-notch industry advice, and key leadership insight from amazing role models. As We Are Power is the umbrella brand to Northern Empowerment Awards, which celebrates hundreds of female role models and advocates every year. This is where you can hear stories from all of our awards alumni and stay up to date with everything MPW Awards and We Are Power. Today, I am joined by the awesome Ngunan Adamu, broadcaster, entrepreneur, superhero legend, godparent, but we'll come back to that. Welcome.
Thank you, Simone.
How are you?
You know, it's a funny question, that. I feel good. I feel fantastic mentally. I'm just waiting for the body to catch up. So it's a funny one because when I got diagnosed with breast cancer, I didn't tell no one for 2 months. So when I was out and about and doing what I was doing and people say, how are you? That question just felt so deep, because when I was answering it, it felt like I was lying. I was going, I'm fine, I'm good. But then I would just be like, oh God, because I was still waiting for more tests to come up and, more biopsies. So it was just a really crazy time in my life. But now I just feel like a weight's being lifted. I feel so good. I feel good. I look good. And I've got a little bit more. And I've got a little bit more energy as well.
So why? What was the decision about not telling everyone, keeping it to yourself?
I think
because you have, and this is just to say, you don't know this woman, right? Follow her on socials, but you have such a big community and a big presence, not just in the city of Liverpool, but beyond.
Global.
Yeah. Oh God, of course. Should have said that. Should I do the intro again? Global legend.
Global. You know what it was? I think when I first found out, they said, you've got breast cancer, but you still need to have more biopsies. And at that time, I just didn't feel that I could tell anyone, because I wasn't ready for the questions, because I was waiting for the questions and for the answers. So the only person I told was my mum. And I remember I had my biopsy, and then I had to go back, and the doctor said to me, it's breast cancer. And then she told me what type of breast cancer it was. And then she said, you seem so calm. And I said, well, I just don't, I already knew, and my body told me something wasn't right anyway. So I kind of knew what she was going to say. But also, I think it was a bit of shock, because even though it's like hearing it, it's a totally different ball game. And then I remember I was so calm until they took me into another room. So the nurse took me to explain everything to me. And I just remember saying, how am I going to tell my son? And that's when I broke down. So I wasn't bothered about anyone else. It was a case of, how do I tell my son? Because he's such, he's my little friend, like he's my best mate, and he's such a deep thinker as well. So I just didn't want to break it to him. So I just didn't feel like I wanted to share it at that time. But also, even just saying the word cancer would make me choke up. And I just remember getting in the car, because he said to me, who have you come with? And I said, no one. And they're like, okay. And are you driving? And I said, yeah. And literally I remember driving home. I had the best Spotify playlist. I was listening to gospel, R&B, I was listening to it. But that journey probably took me 20 minutes, but it felt like an hour, because I was just overthinking. And then I got home, and all the family was in the house as well. So I was like, are you kidding me? So I had to kind of contain myself, and then wait until the kids had gone out and my brothers had gone out. And then I said to my mum, I've got cancer. And then she was like, it's okay. And I was like, I cried for a bit, and then I was like, it is okay. And she went, you know what? She went, cancer came to the wrong person. And I went, yeah, it did. She was like, you're a warrior. And I was like, yes, I am. I was like, and that was it then. So I did me cry. And then it was just waiting for the other biopsies. And I did it all. I went to all my appointments for the first two biopsies. I went by myself. And I remember my second biopsy, they had to give me an anesthetic. And I was just I just felt this little prick, and I just started crying. And they were like, the ladies were saying, "I'm so sorry," and I said, "No, it doesn't hurt." I was like, "I just don't know why it's happening to me. I don't want to be here in this situation." But then I just thought, it's fine. I'm in an amazing country. I'm in an amazing city that actually knows what they're doing. And I just felt so good. So once I got all my test results, that's when I just shared it with the family. My brothers didn't know what to do with themselves because I'm the only girl as well. And I'm like the second mum of the house. But once I got that out the way, then I was able to kind of jump, do what I love doing best, which is jump on video and audio and just tell everyone. But I just wanted to, the reason why I went on the socials and told people while I was in Marrakesh was because I felt cheated, because I'd been telling my GP practice for like 18 months that, I think something's not right, and they just weren't listening to me. And I wanted to kind of be that voice for other women, and especially women of colour, and say, if you know something's not right, don't stop. Just keep on persisting until you get that one GP that listens to you. So I was just spurred on by anger, really, and frustration with the system.
And the misdiagnosis of women of colour it's through the roof, isn't it?
It's awful.
But you spurred on. How many? Did you say 10? Multiple?
Oh God, we had so many women come to me, saying, you've encouraged me to go and get checked. I had a hug in Tesco. Like literally, she come off the till and she was like, "I saw your video." She went, "Can I give you a hug?" And she said, "I found a lump." She went back being scared to go to my GP practice. She went, "But seeing your video, I'm going." And I just thought, if I can encourage as many women as possible to persist, then I've done my job, But the journey's not over. Women like us, we always find another purpose. We can't stop with new purposes, can we? So for me, it was, all right, then I just need to keep people updated because I've never gone through cancer before, But also I know that the way my brain works is very special and very logical. So I'm not an emotional person in that sense. So I like to get my emotions out the way and think, all right, then what's the next step? What do we need to do? So already I've got all these ideas of how do we make the system better for women and women of colour, but also women from working class communities. One of the rants that I had on my social was, it is a postcode lottery. So it's not just about being black or brown or, Middle East. It's none of that. It could be your postcode, and I shouldn't have to pay for extra, for private care just to be taken seriously or just to be seen. And I just wanted to really push that message out.
And some people will say that's really brave of you to go out and make yourself open and vulnerable and educate as you're still learning yourself. But one of the things I saw this week was talking about entrepreneur, as well as broadcaster, global legend, all those other things, warrior. But you talked about the worries financially that entrepreneurs particularly can have, and actually in work, if you've not got critical life cover or certain type of healthcare, it's a vulnerable place, isn't it, to be in?
You know what, Simone? It's so scary, and I was spurred on to get my to get life insurance because I was buying a house. And if I wouldn't have done that, I wouldn't be in this situation where I'm not, I am stress-free, so everyone's like, "Oh my God, you look well," because I'm not worried about my finances and I'm not worried about my bills. So I got life insurance with critical illness cover as well as salary protection, or salary cover. But because I was working internationally back then, my insurers were like, "You've got to go for like the top end, because if anything happens to you on one of your trips, your work trips, then you just don't want your family worrying about, bringing your body back or medical." Because I wasn't in Europe, I was in Africa or I was in Asia. So I would have had to then get support from the British Embassy and all these things. So they really, scared me to the point where I was like, all right, then whatever you need to add on, put it on there. And it was only when a friend of mine, she then said, whatever you need, let me know. I'll loan you some money. And then she said, "Have you got life insurance?" And I was like, I actually do, because I totally forgot about it. It's like, most subscriptions, you just keep on paying. Then one day you look and go, what's that £10 for? Or, and Alicia just called me insurers and just said, look, I've been diagnosed with breast cancer. Just want to check if my insurance covers it. And they were like, yeah, it covers it. They asked me a few questions, and then they sent the bulk of the paperwork to my nurse, my breast care nurse, and my doctor. So they did the rest. So I just didn't have to do anything.
Wow.
No stress, no nothing. But when I've spoken to other women, not everyone's had that success story. But also, this is another thing, if you have genetic and family-related breast cancer, some insurance will not cover you. So mine is estrogen-related. So you've got to make sure that if you're getting out insurance, seeing what it covers you, but also doing your research as well. People can get in contact with me and ask me who my insurers are. I'm more than happy to share that. But I remember from my conversation with my insurers to my my breast cancer nurse getting my paperwork, the whole process took about 4 weeks. And I just got a phone call while I was at the airport, and they were saying, oh, it's gone through and you'll get it in 2-3 days. And when they told me amount, I was like, that's nice. More holidays.
And that travel has been, I see, as your outlet.
Oh, yeah.
You're kind of, right, this is going to be my space now to go. I'm going to go travel.
Yeah. So before...
Not that you weren't like Judith Chalmers anyway. Actually, people are like, who's Judith Chalmers? It's Google it.
So when... and so the funny thing is, it's all happened by chance. So before my surgery, my cousin we'd already planned the year before to go to Marrakesh, and she was coming from Brooklyn, I was coming from Liverpool, and I said to her, I don't think I'm going to be able to go because mentally I just don't think I'm fit enough to go while I'm trying to navigate this new life of mine. And I think I meditated, and I was like, I'm going to go, so went to Marrakesh, had the best time ever. Like literally the best time ever. Stayed in the Four Seasons. I was feeling quite
fancy.
And then when I got back, I had my surgery a week later. But it put me in such a good space, good mental headspace. I was ready for it. And then similar thing, my mate had booked to go on a cruise, and she said, "Look, I've booked the cabin. It'll cost me an extra £200 to add your name to it. Let me know if you want to come." And again, I was like, you know what? Why not? Because I was then waiting for the results of my my surgery to know whether or not I needed chemotherapy, radiotherapy. So yeah, I was off. Came back on the Monday. Tuesday I had my appointment and got me, my treatment, my biopsy results from the mastectomy. And again, I'm waiting to start radiotherapy in December. So I'm going to go away again. Going to go away again. I think it's an absolute privilege. We take so much for granted in terms of what we can and can't do, especially as women. We're so bothered about what everyone else thinks. Oh, you're going away again, or you've got this nice car, or you've got we're always second guessing ourselves and feeling like we don't deserve all these nice things. And actually being faced with cancer, I think for me has completely changed my mindset, because now I'm just like, no, I am amazing. I do deserve. I work so hard, so why can't I enjoy myself? But also I was having a conversation with someone else who's gone through cancer, and she was saying it's interesting when you're sitting there and the doctor's telling you, it's a matter of life or death. If you don't get this treatment, you could die within 5 years. So literally thinking, all right, then for someone like me, I've done everything right. I don't drink, I don't smoke, and when I say don't drink, I stopped drinking a year ago, but now and again, I'd have like a glass of red wine, but I wasn't a big drinker. Yeah. And I'll go to the gym. So I've done everything right, I meditate. So when you get that cancer diagnosis, you go, you know what, F it. Yeah. I'm just, but also because I've been forced to stop, I'm not bothered about losing work. Does that make sense? Because before it's like, oh, if I don't do it, then someone else is going to do it. Then maybe they might forget about me. And whereas now I'm like, you know what? Yeah. I need to practice what I preach. There's room for everyone, and there's so many, new up and coming talent out there that deserve that space.
But moving on, and we send you all our love, and we'll be with you. We know what the WhatsApp groups are like for the wrapping the love around. So people can't forget about you because, quite frankly, and will always come to you because you are one of only 5 people in the world that are a godparent to a cruise ship.
Yeah.
Right? So this year was Queen Anne, is it? The Queen Anne, the new Cunard liner. There's always, I didn't even know that till the big ceremony this year, but always have a godparent. And this year, they announced 5 legends of Liverpool. I know. And being one of those godparents, you and Sporty Spice.
Oh, it was amazing. It was amazing. So the way it worked out was normally they have a royal family. And obviously, you know, Liverpool's history. And they decided to bestow the city of Liverpool as the guardians of the Queen Anne. But as part of that, we were the representative. So me, Mel C, Katarina Johnson-Thompson, Jane Casey, Laura Haywood. So we were all, honestly, when I got that email, I thought it was a joke. Because I was reading it and then I read it again. Then I was like, can you give me a call? Because I thought, there's no way that you're naming me one of the godparents to this ship. Because in my head, I was like, there's so many amazing women in the city. And but it was nice because we all had our individual reasons why they picked us. So it was just, it was mental. But also a lot of things were embargoed as well. So I didn't know Mel C or Katarina Johnson or Laura, I didn't know any of them were part of it. So they said to me it was 10 women. Yeah, to kind of throw a fit, what was it called? I don't even know the terminology, but they said, look, there's 10 women and you can't say anything. So then later on I was like, who else is there? And they said, well, we can't tell yet. So I didn't find out until, I think it was like 48 hours later.
Wow.
Yeah. And I didn't realize how big it was either. So when it all happened, I was like, are you kidding me? You know, I've never been so nervous in my life. And then my mum turned up and she was like, oh my God, like this is crazy. But the funny thing is my mum's quite spoilt now because she's been to Buckingham Palace with me, where they loved her. Nobody was bothered about me. They loved her because she wore her beautiful Nigerian attire. So everyone kept on taking pictures of her. And then being a godparent to the Queen Anne and then seeing Andre Pacelli. And it was absolutely amazing. So, but I always say a lot of these accolades, number one, it's not just about me. It's about what I represent. And it's, you know, the women of the city. And it's also my heritage as well. And then the hard work that my grandparents did in this country, you know. So I'm just a result of my family as well as how the city has shaped me. For me, it's definitely a case of giving back to the city. You know, I remember I always say I'm a Nigerian Scouser, always. And someone was like, what do you mean you're a Nigerian Scouser? I was like, why am I going to call myself a British Nigerian? It's being Scouse that's actually made me who I am, you know. And I love my accent. You know, I've been here since I was 3. So yeah, so being a godparent was just, I just wanted to cry. I did. I wanted to cry because it's that classic thing that we do as women where we underestimate our roles in the city, in the country, you know. And then I had to take stock and go, actually, Ngunan, no, you've done a lot, you know. And like yourself, not everyone sees the work that you do. And when I was being interviewed and I was saying, actually, no, I've done this, I've done that, then I was like, you know what? You deserve this. You deserve this. So yeah, it was a surreal moment.
Well, I think in my final kind of question, which must have been more surreal than anything, was some of those turquoise carpet moments at Eurovision. So last year, Eurovision was probably the most bonkers time that I've ever known in this city. It was, for me and Rob living on the waterfront, we went to everything every day. Yeah. There was always something, 4 weeks of crazy. Like mad. Sophie Ellis-Bextor playing a disco in John Lewis and Sam Ryder playing on the top of some rest. It was bonkers. Now, please tell me you're still in the WhatsApp groups for Eurovision.
We are. We are. And the funny thing is, we still, like, we know what's going on politically as well. So it's funny. It is funny. And, you know, have you ever heard of the Eurovision blues? Like, it was crazy because we were all on such a high. Like, we were working like 14-hour days. It was mad. So once that all stopped, it was like,
What now?
oh my God, what do we do? What do we do with our lives? What do we do next? Because you could dress how you wanted to dress and nobody judged you. You know, you could, I mean, it was just bonkers, absolutely bonkers. I look back at videos of when we were doing the podcast, Eurovision cast, and just plugging that out there. It's still on there. It's still on the iPlayer. When I was doing Eurovision cast, there was so many surreal moments because I was with, you know, Mons Zella, my love, who's like the Elvis of Eurovision, and literally it was like our banter was crazy, and you know, and going to watch the live performances and you realise those moments you'll never get again, you know. So there's part of me that goes, even with everything I've gone through with the cancer, actually I've had some amazing moments that people could wish for, you know, like my son now, I'm like, do I write a book now or later?
I reckon your son do and writes a book, right?
Honestly. But it's I've been so lucky. Someone said to me, stop saying lucky, say blessed. I've been so blessed, honestly. I mean, I'm not dying, just saying that I'm not dying. It's just, I'm taking stock of everything that I've gone through. And I've been so blessed with the opportunities that I've been given. I've definitely got about 50 guardian angels looking out for me. And next year is going to be crazy, just like, you know, just like next year's, because I've been nominated for another award. I can't tell you about that yet, but next year it's going to be a big year for me and iWoman as well. So there's loads of stuff that I've been doing.
There's a million things we could talk about, but you'll be back next year. We can have an update.
Yeah.
We can hopefully kind of cajole some of the numbers out that WhatsApp group into Ngunan, we send you big love and hopes.
Thank
and
you.
Can't wait to catch up with Warrior Woman this time next year. Maybe bring your mum.
Oh God, let's be prepared for that one.
Thank you so much for joining you. Love you loads, and we'll see you next year.
Thank you.
Subscribe on YouTube, Apple, Amazon Music, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts. Leave us a review or follow us on socials. We are power_net on Insta, TikTok and Twitter. Or We Are Power on LinkedIn, Facebook. And We Are _power on YouTube.